This is what I learned, okay? I learned that have no questions in your mind, your child will have a failure. And never be smug about the fact that a failure won't come because it will. If it doesn't happen in middle school, it might happen in high school or it might happen in college, but it will come because that is life. And adversity makes us stronger. So, because we know that these bumps come in the road, prepare your child for the road and not prepare the road for the child because adversity makes us stronger. Um, I love what you said about, so much about what you said, but you made some great points about contributing, how great that is. And we keep hearing this lately a lot from, other speakers say it different ways. Get good at something. I love that. You may not love what they're getting good at, but let them have that competency about something. I love your 3-step approach, especially the one for them, what they need to do. I've heard you talk about the message for teachers, and maybe you can expand on that about letting it go. I think that's so important.
Yeah, I think that evolve piece is really important. I think teachers can sometimes get sort of stuck in the teacher mode. I have to make sure that you really understand how you messed up here, or you really understand the potential consequences of this down the road. But I would say it once, say it quickly, and then a nice thing to do is say, I'm a really non-judgmental person for you to talk to about this. If you want to come back, you have questions or just thoughts that are going around in your head, I'm here for you, but you don't have to keep pointing it out to them.
Beautiful. You talk about in the book about the Bill of Rights. Can you briefly hit on that?
Yeah, okay. So the Bill of Rights is a section of the book that is kind of similar to our constitutional Bill of Rights, but that kids deserve certain rights even when they screw up, even when they fail. And in fact, if we take away all of their rights because they've made a mistake, they are far more inclined to be less safe, and they are going to make more mistakes, probably behind our backs or in darker or scarier places. So things like the right to privacy, the right to begin to make informed decisions about their body, the right to pursue independence, the right to continue to fail, even though you feel like, gosh, we've had a lot of this. I'm ready for the ship to right itself. I think I should clamp down really hard. But this is how kids learn. This is how all humans learn. We don't learn from things being perfect. We learn from things being uncomfortable. It's a lot like exercise. You don't grow stronger by just sitting still.
Right. I love that. So I think one of the things that you hit on that I want to be sure we emphasize as parents, we take this all very, very personally. We go to despair immediately. I'm a horrible parent. I've screwed up and I've screwed up my child. And you mentioned the whisper network. Everybody wants to talk about the child who lives upstairs. No one wants to talk about the child in the basement. And we will at some point have children in the basement. So, tell us about that network, how important it is.
So the moment that every parent, so it was all but one, said they would use the magic wand. All parents said to me the moment they started to feel better about their child's circumstance was the moment they told someone what was going on.
Mhm.
So many parents said, I tried to keep this a secret for as long as I could. My child's anxiety turning into an eating disorder, my child's inability to do well in school, my child's whatever it was, getting suspended or whatever. I try not to tell people about it. But the moment they told someone, the whisper network is finding one or two people you can confide in, and then they will sort of listen and move you along to the next person. And very shortly, you will find the right person who can tell you, I went through this and here's what helped. Here's who I spoke to. Here's a great resource, or just, I know exactly how you feel.
Here's my last question.
Yeah.
What do we have to tell? Well, two part, and then I'll be quiet. What do you want the kids to know about failure? And what's the biggest mistake parents make about failure?
Okay, what I want kids to know about failure is that it's not shameful, it's how you grow. So that's basic, but that's what I want them to know. And they will know that by the way we respond.
Beautiful.
Impression management. That's how they'll know
Mhm.
that.
Beautiful.
What was part two?
What's the biggest mistake parents make around failure? What do you want them to know? The one thing in that elevator, you've got the parent for 60 seconds.
It is more important that you preserve your relationship with your child than you teach them a lesson.
Beautiful. Beautiful. This is usually where we go hug the kids. Josh, I know you want to join me in a huge, did we get all your questions in, Josh?
Yeah, we did. I did see one parent or one from the community. It was really just sort of how do you balance letting kids have experience failure, but at the same time keeping them safe, right? Like where are those lines and boundaries?
So there's a chapter dedicated to this. It's the one I mentioned where the kid ended up in the hospital drinking. And that was so interesting because the child is the one who proposed a way of rebuilding trust so that the parents could ultimately feel better about letting the kid go back out to parties, go back out to be with their peers. So yeah, that's the best thing I can tell you is to check out that chapter.
Good.
Awesome.
Email me and we'll send you a book, parent. Okay. And we've got some free books to give away. Make a phone call. Be back at 7 p.m. tonight Central. Everybody needs to hear this talk. Everybody needs to hear Michelle Icard. Thank you so much. We go hug the kids now. So we'll go hug the kids.
Great.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye. Thank you.
I could spend 5 minutes telling you how wonderful this was, but I'm just going to go right into the few questions that I have. So it was so fun to listen to you on how you came to this. If someone said to me, what's the best advice that you have as a parent from my own experience, it would be exactly this. I think you really, really, nailed it right here. This is so difficult to let your child sit in discomfort. It is so this is where we want to take care of our children. We're wired to take care, and then we have, and that's why your talk is just so important to reinforce that if we really, and I see how you came to this because you're all about growth. How do we get our children to become adults? This is how we get them to become adults. They sit in this discomfort, and we have to sit in our discomfort and let them get there. Some of the way that you rephrase things, I love it. Greenhouse parenting, I think, is beautiful. It really is, leave room for them to grow, let them experience these challenges. And then just some of the words, the way you said, stop pressing the bruise. We want to stop. We know we have, as you said, we have all this knowledge, this experience. We want to keep No, don't put it in the rear view mirror. I love that. And talk for a minute about why the relationship is the very most important thing.
Yes. Okay. So a lot of times parents get so caught up on if I don't teach my child this very important lesson, if they don't understand that they can't behave this way or treat other people this way or treat their body this way, then they are doomed. We do sort of like really cycle ourselves into a frenzy over this. It is so much more valuable that you preserve your relationship with your child than be right, because your relationship will extend well past the time that your child lives with you. And they will continue to need you even when they are 20, 25, 30, 40, however old. And if they don't feel that they can come to you and say, oh, I'm experiencing this really uncomfortable, whatever it might be, relationship or career or whatever, then they're out there struggling on their own. And I've seen so many parents who think, but it's just crucial that I get them to understand this. And I would rather say to my kid, you'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And they do. It just takes longer than you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Modeling. This so many ways that we can model behavior. Talk about that for a minute.
So I think that hopefully, I think parents are getting better about this, but often parents don't understand the importance or have the language to share their own failures with their kids, their own setbacks. We certainly don't want it to be so personal that it's off-putting to our kids, but also I think it's really important to just share the sort of micro moments of your day or your relationships where you can say, oh, I think I said something that really offended my friend, and I'm trying to figure out what I should do get them to help you, show them the menu items in the book and have them say, what if you did an apology? Or what if you did, wrote a letter, whatever it might be. That's a really great way to get your child learning some of these things without feeling like the spotlight's on them.
And not losing your cool.
And not losing your cool. You've got to just have a very sort of neutral expression around it. You don't have to lack emotion, but when your emotion overwhelms your message, your kid won't hear it.
Got it. Sean, did you have a question as we say goodbye?
I know we're wrapping up, but a question that I'm sure other people have as well. Michelle, many of us have multiple kids who may be exhibiting any of the different attributes all at the same time. What's your advice for how we help? I have 3 different kids, 2 in high school, 1 in middle school. How do I help them? How do I be the parent that each of them needs when they need different things?
Oh, it's so hard, isn't it, to have to pivot your sort of personality and parenting style to each child. I think that's so relatable. The best thing that you can do, I think, is divide and conquer. And I really do mean, if your child is struggling with a certain area, it's not a family dinner conversation. It's not something where you have to say, so-and-so is struggling, so everybody has to have extra study time tonight, or we're not having friends over to the house because this child doesn't have a friend to invite over. You really have to divide. And I mean, don't talk about it in front of the siblings, have one-on-one conversations, have one-on-one outings. I know we're all very short on time. Have one-on-one texts. If you're really short on time, that works super well. Not everything needs to be a family group text. And that, I think, is the best way to sort of tend to your child's unique needs.
Great ideas. Thanks so much.
Already, I'm ready for the next book and the next visit. I know you're exhausted from this one, and it's such a good one. Please, those of you that are listening, email me and we'll discuss how we can get you a free book, because this is a book you want to read, and then you want to share it in the neighborhood, and then tell them to go buy the book as well, too. Michelle, thank you so much. Sean, thank you, everybody. We are now going to go and hug our children. Have a great night, everybody. See you next time.
Good night. Thank you all.
Good night, everybody.